Shalom, everybody. I've been, look what I got. And I am so excited. I wanted to share a few things with you. I got my first edition of my new newspaper, the Epoch Times, and kind of separated it into sections because I'm going to take my time reading it. And I get a new issue every week. So it'll make good reading for coffee time. And let's see here. What is this section? Something about longevity and vitality. No. Anyway, health section. There we go. Life and tradition. So that'll be some good reads. But I wanted to share with you guys this article. And don't want to read the whole thing, but I did want to read an excerpt from it. This man, his name is Heng He, I think I said that right. And anyway, so he goes on to talk about what happened in the Wuhan province and etc. And why it's called the CCP virus. A lot of kind of things in here that'll, I don't know, some people will get irritated and get mad at government and find it a reason to get all upset and annoyed, and yeah, it's very frustrating that the people are just doing stupid things, and why, what for, basically to gain power or something like that. Anyway, this article starts out, the world can learn much by paying attention to how the outbreak of the CCP virus, commonly known as the novel coronavirus, has been handled in China. So he kind of talks about, basically, I thought he was going to say, oh, okay, yeah, handle it like this, handle it like that. What is your response? What is the government response to, handing out masks or whatever? But actually, he's basically talking about what kind of government corruption led to such a widespread infection. And let me just read another excerpt from it. The hospital reported the results to the Wuhan Health Commission the same day, which means that Wuhan officials knew of the disease 3 days earlier than Dr. I that he talked about earlier. While the Wuhan Health Commission can directly order the hospital to silence doctors, only administrative officials can order the police to punish whistleblowers. So these two doctors that he had talked about, Dr. I, and I forgot the other one right next to it, basically were doing their job. This patient had come in and they tested some samples and reported to their authorities, and were basically told to be quiet about it. The cover-up was already at, the cover-up was already at the city government level as early as January 3rd, and this is of this year, of course. Other organizations also covered up the outbreak. On January 1st, the Hubei, Hubei Provincial Health Commission notified gene sequencing companies not to take the Wuhan pneumonia samples, not to test the samples, not to submit scientific papers, and not to reveal the results to the public. It also was ordered that all samples must be destroyed. On January 3rd, the National Health Commission formally banned all non-governmental facilities from testing samples related to the Wuhan pneumonia case, which the Beijing financial magazine Caixin, Caixin, recounted in the report tracing the novel coronavirus gene sequencing. When did the alarm sound? The Caixin article was taken down several hours after being published. Let me just read a little bit more. Very interesting. I don't know how he was able to get this published. And his face is, his name is Face. I don't know if that's, his real face, his real name. I just, God bless his soul and his family. Gosh. Let's see, read a little bit more about it. From day one, even every party and government organization and the hospitals and individuals inside the system has been involved in weaving a web of lies. And for the most part, this article he wrote, it's not inflammatory. He refrains from using words like lies and stuff like that, but tell it like it is, right? Involved in weaving a web of lies. Anyone who intentionally or unintentionally exposed the lies was immediately silenced by different organizations at different levels and by different authorities. The CCP's institutions are designed for keeping its power, not for preventing and handling natural disasters, especially not for something like the novel coronavirus. The pattern is usually like this. When a large-scale natural disaster, such as an earthquake or flood, occurs, the CCP doesn't need to do much for the victims and survivors. Digging up survivors is for taking photos or videos. Saving lives is the least concern. During the Sichuan earthquake in 2008, classrooms collapsed, killing school children while government buildings remained standing. But officials were never held accountable for the corruption that caused the shoddy school construction. The CCP's, in quotes, solution was to jail parents and activists who sought the truth and justice. So things like that, shoddy school construction. Okay, that's obviously an accusation that needs to be investigated. But it sounds like there was no chance, and this is again in 2008, different situation or different event, but it sounds like there was no chance for that to happen. Because I don't know, maybe it just fell down. I don't know, or I don't know if it was more. I'd have to do more research. How many classrooms collapsed? In fighting disasters, the most important work is to brag about how great the CCP is. The people can only see the gratitude of the survivors to the party. The red flag waving rescue teams, the award and victory celebration ceremonies, and other similar actions. As time goes by, people who have no direct experience of the suffering can only remember the propaganda while totally forgetting the victims and the officials responsible for the disaster. So, I don't know. I just, after reading that, you think about draining the swamp, and for years it's been kind of an understood thing. Like, yeah, there's a lot of corruption. China's don't trust China. I used to have I had a lot of students from China, Korea, South Korea, Japan. Great people, wonderful people. And what is the saying? Power corrupts absolutely, or absolute power corrupts absolutely. And yeah, so it's not, racist, or, oh, I hate Chinese people. No, 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 no. It sounds like, and I kind of contemplated it after reading that article and after reading some more stuff about it, that, okay, well, here we have, the deep swamp, and yeah, we got a big problem on our hands. And it just seems like the swamp in China is even deeper. I mean, decades and decades and decades. So, I don't know. I guess the take home is pray for China. There's another article in this paper that they talk about. One of the editors talks about, yeah, we call it the CCP virus, and this is why, and make sure you understand, what the whistleblowers were told to keep quiet, and anyway, CCP virus, that's why. But read up about it, I guess. I saw somebody post I don't know if they got it from the Epic Times too, or they were just doing their own research somewhere else. But they also called it the CCP virus. So, yeah, pray for China. It sounds like their swamp is even deeper than ours. Shalom.